In the sapling. Sir, please come. Sir, please come forward. Thank you very much, sir. May I kindly request Shri Musharraf Ali Farooqi ji to share his special remarks for the event, please. Over to you, sir. A round of applause for Mr. Farooqi, please.
Good morning, one and all. The dignitaries on the dais, Honorable Chairperson Telangana ERC, Sri Justice Nagarjun sir, my dear colleague Varun, the organizers of the evening, and other dignitaries, the participants of the meeting. I appreciate the organizers of the program for having taken the effort to organize this very useful interaction on capacity building for the southern region of the country in the electricity domain. It is extremely important to mention that capacity building today is one of the key links in the energy sector today. See, this sector has been so dynamic, particularly in the last 1 or 2 decades. Now, I can draw a parallel with the software industry. Sir, as a student of electronics initially and then a student of electrical engineering later on, we have seen a boom of the software and the hardware technology in terms of electronics in the era of the 90s and the early 2000s. But of late, in the last 10 years, electronics have pretty much saturated. But of late, if you see the domain of the power generation in the country, in the last decade, it has grown tremendously, particularly in the domain of renewables. So, the solar, which we have contracted a few capacity initially for about 15 rupees and even 17 rupees per unit, is today down to 2.5 rupees. And at the same time, wind has grown tremendously. Now, this is the era wherein battery storage has to pick up. Then we are talking about pump storage. Telangana is undoubtedly one of the leader states in operating a pump storage on stream project, which no other state in the country has so much of PSP capacity. So in all of these systems, now tomorrow when we talk about a net zero country, or when we talk about reaching half of our energy requirement from renewables, at this time one of the key bottlenecks is undoubtedly capacity building. Because when most of my senior officials or senior colleagues have joined the system, the focus was completely different. The understanding of the sector was completely different. And now this is a time wherein we require that additional push, or additional that shift in direction, or that paradigm shift is required to understand this fast growing domain of renewable energy and the fast growing challenges of the environment. So with these words, I again appreciate your efforts in conducting this program, and not only the dignitaries who are here on and off the dais, but everybody. The message has to go loud and clear of what we exactly are looking in this sector today, vis-a-vis what it was maybe 5 years back or 10 years back, and what we are going to see in the next 5 years. So keeping all of these into account, it is high time that we understand things and we enhance our capacity to meet the future goals of the country. Thank you.
Yes, yes. So, sir, please take your seats and.
you also getting people on the screen here? Virtual? अच्छा, right. ये लग गया? Okay. Thank you.
Power sector has transformed significantly, fueled by strategic policy initiatives that promote competition, enhance efficiency, and boost the share of renewable energy in India's energy mix. It is essential to inform about the laws, regulations to the state stakeholders. To address this, IRADE, in collaboration with Central Electricity Authority, has initiated a year-long capacity building program aimed at enhancing the expertise of state stakeholders in technical, financial, legal, and regulatory aspects of power sector governance. And we hope this initiative will deepen the stakeholders' knowledge and equip them to navigate the challenges such as renewable energy integration, energy storage, and grid modernization. Now, to formally and commence the inaugural session, I would like to invite our esteemed guest to the dais. May I request Dr. Justice Devaraju Nagarjun on the dais, please. Round of applause for. He is the chairman, Telangana Electricity Regulatory Commission, Government of Telangana. Next, I would like to invite Shri Karnati Varun Reddy, IAS CMD North Regional Distribution Company of Telangana, Government of India. Welcome, sir. May I request now Shri Pankaj Bhattaji to please come on the dais. So I'm also pleased to introduce Dr. Jyoti Parekh and Kirit Parekh. Dr. Jyoti Parekh is the Executive Director of IRADE and Kirit Parekh is the Chairman of IRADE and the former member Planning Commission. So they will be joining us online today. A round of applause for them, please.
Hello.
Yeah. Now, may I request Mr. Pankaj Bhattaji to please come forward and present the sapling to our special guests, please, which symbolizes our appreciation for their presence. So, can you please provide it? To Dr. Justice Devaraju Nagarjun, please. Thank you, sir. To Shri Karnati Varun Reddy. Thank you, sir. So now may I request Dr. Jyoti Parekh for her welcome address. She is the Executive Director of IRADE and has been member of India's former Prime Minister's Council on Climate Change, a recipient of 2007 Nobel Peace Prize of her work with IPCC. She has been consultant for organizations like World Bank, US Department of Energy. Dr. Parekh has also served on various technical and advisory panels, including for the Global Environment Facility and IREDA, contributing to energy and sustainable development policies. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming here, and a very hearty welcome to all the guests who have come, distinguished members on the dais as well as in the audience. We are, as you might have known, Integrated Research and Action for Development is a research institute where we work with multidisciplinary perspectives and multi-stakeholder perspective, and we do policy analysis, capacity building, and so on. And in this case, we are very fortunate to be working with Central Electricity Authority, and we have completed now by this time capacity building for the Electricity Act understanding in the northern region, northeastern region, eastern region, western region, and now we are happy to be in the southern region. Southern region is one of the most advanced region in the sense that energy transition, they have taken very great strides. They've already met India's NDC, which had to be met in 2030 by bringing up 50% of the renewable for non-fossil fuels. They have crossed that limit. They have also highest very high per capita consumption compared to all India. Their carbon intensity is also lower than all India, and they have earlier championed quite a lot of reforms and so on. Now, this time, looking at your suggestions on how to further in energy transition towards large march towards energy transition, which would completely change the energy scene in a couple of decades. And if you have good understanding of the Electricity Act and how various decisions are taken and how various components of electrical systems, transmission, distribution, generation, pricing, new technologies, how they have to come together to reach to undertake this transition. If it's well understood by everyone, and not just at the top level decision makers, but all further down. Every level, there is an understanding, we can make progress faster. So we should work together in future also. We hope to work with Southern India very soon, and I wish you all the best, and let us know your feedback on how you found the training program, whether we can improve, and whether your understanding of energy transition is something that in any democratic institutions is welcome. Thank you very much for being here, and we all hope that the program goes very well. Thank you. I thank my colleagues also for working hard and putting it all together. Mr. Batra and Navpreet Saini, Sankalande, Mohit Gupta. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. A round of applause for Ms. Jyoti Parekh, please. Okay. Thank you. So I would like to inform that Shri Musharraf Ali Farooqi ji has just joined us. He is IAS CMD Southern Power Distribution Company of Telangana Limited. Welcome, sir. May I request Pankaj Batra ji to please present the sapling to Shri Farooqi? Thank you, sir, for doing us the honor. Now, I would like to request Shri Pankaj Batra ji to please set the tone for the day by providing his context settings. So he has over 40 years of experience in the power sector across India and South Asia. He has contributed to power sector reforms, energy transition and grid management. He has held leadership roles including chairperson of CEA, chief engineering at the CERC. Currently, he serves as senior advisor at IRADE and is on the board of Indian Smart Grid Forum and chair of BIS Committee on Energy Storage. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Welcome to our esteemed guests here. We are honored to have the chairperson of Telangana Regulatory Commission in person here. Thanks for sparing his time, Justice Nagarjun, Mr. Reddy from the CMD of the Northern Distribution Company, and Mr. Farooqi, the CMD of the Southern Distribution Company. We are missing some dignitaries because of their various engagements, because I mean, you can't guarantee that all the dignitaries would be there at the same time. They've got various engagements, but I'm happy to have participants from all the formations of Telangana, as well as from Kerala Regulatory Commission, and also from one utility of Kerala. So this is the same sort of attendance we see in all the workshops that we've conducted. how we started this was that the chairperson CA, current chairperson CA, Mr. Ghanshyam Prasad had, said that there is a requirement of capacity building, even though Electricity Act, the laws, the rules, the regulations are there, and new ones are coming up. But still, in order for people to understand the nuances at the ground level, it would be important to hold it. And there were requests from many states. One of the states was Telangana, where they had requested that some capacity building is required. So since CA could not, they have limited manpower, so they couldn't go to all states. So we thought, being ex-chairperson of CA, I thought that we can hold these capacity building exercises. So chairpersons, so CA along with IRADE, a think tank where I'm working, the think tank based in Delhi for important think tank in India and South Asia, where we work in India and South Asia. So we thought we would help along with CA, collaborating with CA, organize these workshops. So chairperson CA is able to come for some regional workshops if he can spare the time. Right now, the minister had called for a meeting, Minister of Power, so he couldn't physically come, and he couldn't even virtually join because the meeting is ongoing right now. But hopefully we will have him virtually present at a later time. And also, in case we are able to get some other dignitaries to come at a later time, we will, have them address all of you. So the laws, the rules, the regulations, guidelines, which are mostly made by the ones which are made by the central government, by the Ministry of Power or the Central Electricity Authority or the Central Electricity Regulatory Commission. In order for these rules to be made very clear, so that these can be used efficiently by all the stakeholders, and states are major stakeholders in the power sector, we thought that we would have this. And of course, it's the authors of these rules, regulations, guidelines who will present it. So you'll have officers from CA presenting, officers from CRC, and officers from grid controller, which is also an important part of grid operation in the country, as well as power exchange, which is the power market. So power exchange people also speaking, and also there's a new platform which is called OTC platform, either over the counter. So I'm not sure how many of you know it, but it's a new platform which has just been started about 2 years back, and it's taken off to some extent, but not to a large extent. So for to familiarize all of you with another platform, which basically works towards optimization of power resources, and therefore reduces the cost of supply for consumers. So these would also be presented, and we are happy to be here in Hyderabad. I'm coming after many years. I had come earlier, but now I'm coming after maybe I think about 10 years or more. So I've seen a lot of change, of course, in Hyderabad, and we're happy to be here and happy to welcome all of you here. Look forward. I hope you have an enriching session or enriching engagement here in this workshop that we have for Southern Region state stakeholders. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for setting the context of the workshop and providing us the background and the purpose of this exercise. So now may I request Dr. Kirit Parekh to deliver the introductory remarks, please. He's the chairman of IRADE. He is honored with the Padma Bhushan in 2009 and a co-recipient of 2007 Nobel Peace Prize for his work with IPCC. He served on the Economic Advisory Council of 5 Indian Prime Ministers. Additionally, he has a member of Planning Commission from 2004 to 9, where he led key policy initiatives including the integrated energy policy and the low carbon strategies for inclusive growth. Welcome, sir, and over to you.
Thank you, Navpreet. Welcome to you all. I think distinguished people, many of you are really expert in your own field, and one might even wonder why is it that this capacity building is required. But I would consider that, it is really important to understand the perspective of others. And as Dr. Jyoti Parikh said at IRADE, our understanding is that unless you take into account the concerns of all the stakeholders, policies don't usually work as you expect it to do. And that's the reason why I think it is very, very important to really have a common understanding between the central government policymakers or suggestion makers and states, and bring the state's concern into the policy making process. Southern, probably all know that southern region is a very large potential for renewable energy. In fact, the renewable energy capacity is higher than the fossil fuel capacity in the southern region, and that its total non-fossil exceeds way above our target that the Prime Minister announced long ago in Glasgow. But I think the real problem is that this non-renewable or this renewable energy has to be absorbed fully, and for that you require certain measures of policies and understanding from the central government that would really help you absorb this renewable energy in the proper way. Because I know that in the past there were many states which were unable to fulfill their RPO obligation, and many of the renewable energy suppliers found that their power was not taken up, and so on. So I think that the reason was also some rationality in people not meeting their renewable power obligation also, because they had long-term power purchase agreement with coal-based power plant. And then if they had to pay the capacity charge to the coal-based power plant and buy renewable, the total cost would come out higher than buying the coal-based power plant. So I think a clearer understanding of where the state's concerns and constraints are, and at the same time what the national goals are, is very, very important from both the sides. The renewable capacities of the southern region would play an extremely important role in our country's energy transition, but that cannot really be fulfilled unless we find a clearer and cleaner way of bringing this renewable energy capacity to all the states in the country, and to bring it in an effective way, which is also beneficial to this and provides incentive to develop this renewable capacity even more fully. So I think we hope that this.
Thank you very much, sir. May I request, please, the audio-visual people to please get the person on the screen, the dais, please. Thank you for, sorry for the inconvenience, please. Thank you very much, sir. And next, I would like to request Shri Karnati Varun Reddy ji for his special remarks. He is an IAS officer of the 2019 batch for the Telangana, previously served in the Indian Revenue Services 2017 batch. He has worked extensively in tribal areas, including additional collector in Kumuram Beam, Asifabad, where he led the award-winning Mission Sampurna project. As project officer at ITDA Utnur, he promoted tribal culture and sustainable agriculture. As district collector of Nirmal, He introduced innovations, MSMEs, and projects like LIMCA, award-winning rainwater harvesting initiatives. Since December 2013, he has been chairman of and managing director of TGNPDCL, earning recognition for his leaderships and good governance. Welcome, sir. And I sincerely apologize for my mispronunciations of few words, as I am not very familiar with these words. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. I welcome IRADE and CEA for this capacity building workshop being organized in Hyderabad for the entire southern region. And the dignitaries on the dais, Chairman TGERC, Nagarjun Garu, my Musharraf sir, CMD NPDCL, Pankaj Batra Garu, who is the former chairperson of CEA, and IA Khan Garu, who is a former chairperson of TGERC, and to all the officials who are participating in this workshop. And organizing this capacity building workshop with the changing current landscape in the entire generation, transmission and distribution landscape is a much welcome initiative of both CEA and IRADE. And as we are transitioning more and more towards renewable generation, renewable energy consumption, and MOP is mandating DISCOMs also that higher percentage of energy consumption has to come from renewable energy. There is tremendous change which is being happening in the regulations in order to promote the grid stability, especially because the very intermittent nature of the renewable energy generation, it brings its own challenges in terms of how you handle the generation which is happening during those surplus hours, especially during the day hours, and parallelly how you will back down your own thermal generators. What are the regulations which are being put in place to ensure there is a stability at the national level, at the grid level, and all the stakeholders, be it generators or at the transmission level or the state SLDCs or at the DISCOM level, have to be adequately trained in terms of the changing landscape or in terms of the changing regulations which is being brought in, so that at the national level there is certain stability which can be expected in maintaining the grid, and there is compliance in terms of all the safety precautions or the safety standards which are being put in place. And these workshops have to be organized much more frequently so that we can also share the best practices which are being followed in each and every state in terms of promoting safety standards, in terms of improving the financial stability either of DISCOMs, or the best practices for promoting ease of doing businesses which are being followed in various transmission utilities and also at the DISCOM levels. And this also forms as a platform where certain requests from the southern states, especially the southern states, where we've been requesting the national central government and also to the regulators that the higher targets which are being set up for meeting our renewable energy goals on the distribution companies is extremely exponentially compared to what the targets which have been set up by the previously the state regulatory commissions. And to meet these targets, we need time, and we need to parallelly develop also the storage mechanisms, either it is a battery storage or pump storage mechanisms. So putting penalty on top of non-meeting of our RPP obligations. So certain relaxations need to be looked into it, and this is also acts as a platform where the requests from the state DISCOMs or the state governments can also be examined both by the CEA and also the various think tanks which are also helping the CEA in terms of the power ministry in terms of developing or coming up with the new regulations. And I welcome all the participants here, and also for IRADE and CEA up to take up such workshops, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. May I request Shri IA Khan ji to kindly share his remarks with us. So he has 40 years of professional experience. He has expertise in monitoring long-term and medium-term development plans, ensuring effective project management practices, and allocating budgetary resources for successful project completion. Internationally, he served as coach and advisor for UNDP, focusing on capacity building for Afghan civil servants under CAP project in collaboration with UNDP and the Government of India. Nationally, he held the position of chairman of Telangana State Electricity Regulatory Commission from November 2014 to 2019. He also served as member of the Bihar State Electricity Regulatory Commission in 2014. Prior to these roles, he has an advisor in the Planning Commission of India, where he coordinated various high-level energy dialogues, including the India-US, India-Japan, and India-China Strategic Economic Dialogue. Welcome, sir, and over to you.
Good morning, everybody. So, respected dignitaries on the dais and participants, you are welcome here to the Hyderabad city. See, India is the third largest electricity producing country in the world after China and USA. So we have around 450 gigawatt of electricity generation capacity, and to serve the emerging loads, increasing loads, fast growing loads in India. So as the growth is taking place, to manage the system, you know that electricity the required capacities has to be made ready for meeting the demand, irrespective of the time schedule. So that means any time of the day, the capacity available should be able to meet the demand with the fluctuating demand. So that means we have to go going on increasing the additional capacity. That's why we are going to add a number of capacities in terms of various technologies. So now, see, Mr. Reddy was referring to the battery storage. Why this is required? Because the system requirements are there. The things are changing. Demand is changing in the whole day, so we have to select the desired technology to meet that particular demand in the given hour of the time. So that's why we are putting a number of different technologies and managing the different technologies at different points of time. You require the desired skills to maintain that one. So that's why earlier, for the past 1 decade, we were doing the renewable energy, more renewable energy capacity of solar and wind was added to meet the gap in the demand and the available capacity. Now we are thinking of, or already we have around 220 megawatt of battery storage in India now. Okay, so new technology is going to be introduced to meet the gap between the desired demand and the available capacity. So when different capacities, different technologies are employed, each technology demands certain skilled persons. So that's why the today's topic is that this capacity building of the people. So capacity building of the persons employed, the people who are involved in the day-to-day maintenance of the system, they should have the required skills to manage that one. So when I say skill, it is not, I am not talking about the lower level of the strata. It is, for example, load dispatch center officers are there. They should know how to manage, how to take the cognizance of the system requirements in the given time, and so that the dispatch is effective. So for each section of the manpower, capacity building is important with the introduction of new technologies, with the management of the new technologies. So that means today's topic of capacity building, This is a very important system for the optimal operation of the grid, as well as for the efficient management of the discoms and generation companies or transmission companies. So we can deliberate furthermore during our course of action. So that means, with this introduction, I thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Now I humbly request Shri Devaraju Nagarjun to share his special remarks with us. He enrolled as an advocate in 1986. He joined his father's office at Vanapati, practicing civil, criminal and revenue courts. He has selected as junior civil judge in 1991, promoted the senior civil judge in 2004, and become district judge in 2018. He served as principal private secretary to Honorable Chief Justice, assistant director at the Andhra Pradesh Police Academy, and held various registrar position in the High Court of Telangana, elevated as a judge of Telangana High Court in 2022. He has transferred to the Madras High Court in 2013, serving until August 2024. He took oath as chairman of TGERC on 30th October 2024. Welcome, sir, and over to you. A round of applause for the guest, please.
Thank you very much. A very good morning to all of you. I feel very privileged, I guess, to be part of this conference. Though I feel that the participation from, though it is said it's a southern, except the Kerala, I guess, and the home state, Telangana, there is no much representation from other states for obvious reasons, as was referred to, that they are preoccupied. Maybe this month of February and March are very crucial for all GRCs to finalize the tariffs, and all of the people, I guess, are busy. Yes. So this kind of a meetings, has been referred by other speakers as well, is relevant at this point of time. We all know that India has committed net zero by 2070. And also by 2030, it is planned to have 50% of our energy needs by renewable energy. But the question is, the ambitions are very good and great. However, the South India, as we all know, there are a lot of potential for renewable energy. But the issues are, many complex issues are there. It's not as easy as what we are talking about. There are a number of issues with regard to seamless integration of renewable energy, which is really tough. We all know the technical experts are sitting here. The issues are there with regard to integration, grid security, the infrastructure with regard to transmission and distribution. We cannot develop overnight all these things. We are committed international, whatever treaties are there, Paris Convention. Apart from that, whatever energy, fuel, for example, maybe coal, sometimes we are buying from other countries, it takes a lot of foreign exchange also. So we need to self-reliance ourselves in all the sector, including this energy. When we talk of these capacity building programs like this, I really wonder, this is, I guess, mainly meant for institutions like regulatory institutions and enforcing institutions. And these kind of meetings are being done frequently in all the regions, including South India, which I guess is the last one in this series. However, see, I'm about 3 and a half months old in this system. I was totally alien to this subject, to be honest with you all. I'm basically a judge, and maybe I was taught, learned and trained, worked in interpreting the laws which are formulated by the parliament or the assemblies, as the case may be. But here, unlike the judicial bodies and the quasi-judicial bodies, I can speak for the regulatory commissions, right? So this regulatory commission has got onerous responsibility. Very delicate and very complex and crucial. Normally as I was referring to, either the High Court or the subordinate courts or the quasi-judicial bodies, we only try to interpret and sometimes enforce the laws and the rules made by the experts, so-called experts, quote unquote. Because there are people who are experts in drafting of the laws, basing on the need and requirement as demanded by the Parliament or the Assembly. But here, taking into consideration of the Electricity Act 2003 and the state and central policies, the regulatory authorities, that is commissions, are expected to draft and publish regulations, which is, according to me, very crucial and unique to this commission. We will have to follow everybody, all the stakeholders in the state are expected to follow the regulations only. Though regulations are expected to be made within the framework of the national and central policy and the state policy, and also keeping in view of the provisions of the Electricity Act. Recently, we have seen the High Court of Karnataka has struck down the rules framed by the central government, entering into the powers, usurping the powers of the state commissions. They said no, they are not valid. So it is the regulatory commissions, that is the state commission has got every power to form the regulations. Therefore, friends, the question arises whether the regulatory commissions, the state commissions, do we have really equipped with the capacity to form the regulations in a proper way? Unless, see, I have observed the regulations are framed right from the formation of this commission. There are no proper research work not done actually, while framing the regulations. The practice which I guess is being adopted is, one of the state commissions formulate the regulations. Maybe the model regulations will come somewhere from Delhi. We try to amend and modify to suit our requirements. We cannot have any straitjacket formula. See, Telangana state has got different scenario, maybe in terms of production of the electricity for various renewable sources. Tamil Nadu has got, for example, like a more of a wind. Himachal Pradesh got a hydel, and we have got pump storage and hydel, many such things. So understanding these nuances before actually framing these regulations is very crucial thing. And I'm sorry to say that there is no proper training or capacity building as to how to draft the regulations. While drafting the regulations, we need to keep, as I was referring, not only the provisions of the Electricity Act, state and local state policy and the central policy, tariff policy, but also we need to keep into whatever decisions given by the various high courts and the Honorable Supreme Court, and of course the Constitution of India. And after having taking charge, I have seen that many cases are being filed in the high courts, in the Supreme Court, and also tribunal, questioning the orders passed by the commission, and also sometimes challenging the very regulations also, because they are maybe against the Constitution, against the spirit of some of the judgments of the High Court and the Supreme Court. Where are we going then? If this is we are spending a lot of time in these kind of litigation, where ultimately has to deliver the goods. Therefore, this is the time we need to introspect not only the capacity buildings like this. There shall be some forum wherein not only a person like me or other members, maybe other officers who are connected with the either drafting or enforcing of the regulations must be given induction training, clear induction training. There must be some institution, and also a continuous, programs like this. We know the landscape, global landscape of this electricity or the energy is totally changing dynamically every day. I think it is competing with the artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is the one which actually, having a lot of, every day we see a lot of developments. Similarly, in this field also, because of these scientific development and about the commitments of the net zero and all that, everybody is striving hard. Not only that, we have competition among the states as well. Therefore, it's a very crucial thing one must understand. We have seen that recently central government has come up with a policy of micro-nuclear plants, right? And we also read in the newspaper last week that the China has created artificial sun. Can you imagine? Like by way of fission, and produce the electricity also, energy. So we are lagging behind. So if you frame the regulations, keeping in view of the present scenario, honestly, we'll be lagging behind. The first step is to form the regulations basing on whatever current needs, and to understand and think of future requirements and the frames to suit the future requirements. Otherwise, you will be failing and you will be missing the bus. Always we see, suppose we make regulations tomorrow, the scenario is changed. We have been receiving lot of complaints that the rooftop energy like solar is limited to only 1 megawatt. I don't know why. We have been one way encouraging everybody to go for renewable energy, but we are putting restrictions. Though we say that the generation is license free, quote unquote, after 2003, but still we are putting indirect. But in some states, I guess. But in some states, this is 5 megawatt. So there is a need to think of these debates shall go on, and the regulation shall be framed not by sitting within the AC rooms of four corners of a room. Public consultation is required. We need to understand what people wanted, what the policy of the state government, what the policy. See, we are not, when I said a regulation, I am not in the adversarial mechanism. No, that's not the policy here. I am not supposed to decide the case of two persons, which happens in the regular courts. It shall be decided by way of a consultation process. We need to understand the people. So framing of regulations, understanding, basing on the policy, basing on the requirements, basing on the scientific development is one issue, one challenge. The other big challenge is keeping all these things aside, taking into consideration of given resources, given limitations, under the regulation or the act or otherwise policy, still we need to understand how best we can perform in a better way. Unless we reach optimum level of basing or utilizing our resources with a simple motive of providing a seamless, uninterrupted quality electricity to the consumers, which is the main motive of all of us. However, we need to balance. The DISCOMs are running huge losses, and the government policies are there to help the poor people and farmers, which is also required to be understood, taken into consideration. And consumer wanted electricity with a cheap price. So balancing these things is not that easy. It's a highly delicate job. This is the responsibility of the regulator. So a lot of responsibilities there on the regulators and also the enforcers like you. So we need to update knowledge and keep on. I'm not sure this is the last one in the series, and North and other places, but we do not know what the takeaways of those kind of conferences earlier. There must be some resolutions, right? If they are placed before this meeting like this, we can take them a little forward. Otherwise, Similarly, there are a number of institutions, like we have FOR, we have these, and many such think tank institutions. But everybody, they are doing their own research in isolation. There is no mechanism where whatever outcome of the meetings or the conference and research shall be shared by everybody. There shall be a platform. All said and done, finally I want to say, after 2003, after amendment of the Act, liberalizing in a sense, unbundling the, these electricity sector, still result after, so many years, maybe 20 years down the line, still majority of the DISCOMs are suffering losses. So we need to honestly, objectively think where the problem lies and how to reform this sector. How best? I guess the meetings like this, conferences like this, and the think tank like IRADE and other institutions will come forward to find the solutions. And all the topics lined up for 2 days are very encouraging, and hope by the end of the 2 days this conference, some result will come in the betterment of the energy industry of our state. Thank you very much for the organizers for giving the opportunity. All good day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Want to
I
add
just,
something, sir?
I just want to say that Justice Nagarjun, who mentioned about takeaways from the various regional workshops that we've had. Yes, so we are in the end of, after conducting these, going to place a report which will be in the public domain and of course inform all stakeholders to give the link for them to read. That these are the takeaways. Every region, as you rightly said, has different aspects. Some are high in hydro, some are high in renewables, and the training requirements are also different, the capacity building requirements. So we'll put all these, and of course the presentations which follow today will also be available to everyone in the public domain and informed through email. Links would be given so that you can access it, so that the benefit of knowledge which has come out of conferences or workshops like this are available to everyone.
So earlier conferences were they, whatever you have done in north, northeast, and east and west, whether those takeaways or the regulations or the resolutions are in place in the website or somewhere, or?
So we have finalized two of them. The third one is getting finalized now, and the fourth one will do after that. And of course, we will put it subsequently on the website for everyone.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. So now it is my privilege to deliver the vote of thanks for today's inaugural session. I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to all the esteemed dignitaries, both present on the dais and off the dais, for gracing us with their presence. A special thanks to our speakers from CEA, CERC, IEX, Grid Controller of India for their consistent support and efforts to ensuring the success of this event. I would like to express my sincere appreciation to Shri Musharraf Ali Farooqi ji, Shri Karnati Varun Reddy ji, and Shri I.A. Khan ji, and Dr. Justice Devaraju Nagarjun ji for taking the time to participate in this workshop. And we are deeply thankful to Professor Kirit Parekh and Jyoti Parekh for their valuable guidance and continuous support to materialize this workshop. Once again, I extend my heartfelt thanks to each and every one of you for your contribution and your participation. Thank you. So may I request all the our guests for the group photograph, please? Yeah.
Okay, one first for welcome back after the break. I hope the tea has refreshed you. What I'm going to do is to introduce to you what is going to take place today and tomorrow. And as I think Justice Nagarjun said, that this conference is not only one-sided. It's not only the speakers telling you of the nuances of that, but it's also to get a feedback from you all. Basically, you're the stakeholders. Getting a feedback from you on in terms of if you have any issues, because that feedback is taken then by the speakers, who are basically the authors of these rules, regulations, to carry out changes if required. So it's a two-way thing. And not only that, I mean, because there are people from Telangana and Kerala primarily. I'm sorry we could not have speakers from the other three states. We would have liked everyone to be there. So we would have liked everybody to be there, including Puducherry, but due to prior commitments, they were not able to come. So in many of these regional conferences, we do not have participation from all states, primarily ones which are basically from different states. So the majority, about 80 to 90% of the people are from the host state where it's being held, and that's what the same pattern I see here. But of course, Kerala has been very forthcoming and very happy for that the Regulatory Commission from Kerala, as well as the head of the Renewable Development Agency, Mr. Velluri, is also here from Kerala. I had spoken to the chairman of the Kerala Regulatory Commission, and he had actually wanted to come, but because he was traveling, I think it happened that he had to travel, and so he couldn't come. And so also many other regulators, as well as the principal secretaries of energy of these states, busy in either with the chief minister or deputy minister or deputy chief minister or some other things. Right, so I'll tell you how this will go, how we'll go through these today and tomorrow, and hopefully I'm sure that you will stand to benefit. For any training that is done, people at least pick up a little bit, if not the entire thing. So I'm sure that any capacity building that we have, people would stand to gain to some extent. And I request you to stopping for asking questions at any time, so that it doesn't keep in your head. It actually, you get yourself satisfied. So please be forthcoming in asking questions. No question is a stupid question, so any question is welcome, okay? Just to see that you are comfortable and you gain as much as possible. Right, so today in workshop, the first day we are going to have after this
recording in progress.
After this inaugural session, we, of course, what was just a brief about the southern region. Southern region has been the leader in terms of renewables in the country. You had a lot of wind generators in Tamil Nadu earlier, before even the solar mission came out, or renewables, thrust on renewables came out. There were a lot of wind in Tamil Nadu and Rajasthan. So southern region has been a leader in renewable energy, and now of course you have all the other states of southern region, including Telangana, Andhra, Karnataka, and Kerala taking up wind and solar respectively, and that is what everybody in the globe is heading towards. Everybody is looking. That's a global objective now, energy transition towards renewables. But there are issues in terms of the intermittency of these renewables. Both wind and solar are not available throughout the day. So what do you do? What do you do when demand would persist even when there is no renewable generation? What do you do? So there's standby generation, which you can have, that when wind goes down or solar goes down, the other generation comes up. That's a little inefficient. Then you can have storage, energy storage, that you store the energy which is generated using solar and wind when it's available, and then give back energy to the grid when these are not available. So energy storage on a large scale basis has become a priority issue. And there are two types of storage. One is pump storage, which we've had for many years, and southern region also has that in I think Kadamparai in Tamil Nadu, and also in some other states. Some of the pump storage were not functioning earlier. They are in the process of making these functional. So also not only southern region but all other regions, because it's become a priority issue. And of course you have battery storage, which is more suited for short duration because it's expensive otherwise. So battery duration is normally up to 1 hour, 2 hours is okay. But if it's longer than that, then pump storage is much cheaper. And a pump storage plant would last for maybe 35 years at the first stage, and the life can be doubled because the civil works last for 100 years, whereas the electromechanical parts last for 35 years. So the electromechanical parts, which constitutes only 40% of the cost. If you change the entire electromechanical also, you'll double the life from 35 to 70 years. Whereas batteries last for about 10 to 15 years. So you have to change the battery totally. So it's a big capital cost, whereas in pump storage it is not. So pump storage overall is working out cheaper. And there's a thing called closed loop pump storage, where most of these pump storage earlier which we had were river based pump storage, rivers flowing, and then the two reservoirs, you store the water, you pump back water from the lower reservoir to upper reservoir when there's excess energy, and then use it when there's renewable energy is less, but because of intermittent renewables, this is becoming even more important. So that was most of these were river based, but there was one closed loop pump storage, which means it was not river based. It came out in West Bengal in Purulia. It's 900 megawatt, which was actually a stream flowing in the mountains, and they were flowing down the mountains, and there were two naturally occurring reservoirs at a height difference. Now what they did was they dammed up, of course this was done by West Bengal in association with CA, they dammed up the bottom reservoir to store the water, harvest the water, and it took about 3 years for that reservoir to fill up because it was a stream only. And then they also dammed up the upper reservoir. So once you have a reservoir, then the only water which is lost, because it's a closed loop, you pump it up, it will come, and when it comes down to the lower reservoir when it generates, and again you pump it up, you can keep doing that, except when the evaporation losses. So evaporation losses are made up by that stream, small stream. So to see that it continues to operate. And if there's any excess water which flows even beyond that storage, then that goes for irrigation down below. So this was Purulia, which was commissioned 2007, and there's now stage 2, Turga, again in West Bengal, and stage 3 also, because this has become a norm now, and the Government of India's policies towards prioritizing these closed loop pump storage. And there's about 32,000 megawatts which are expected to 30,000 megawatts which is expected to come by 2032 pump storage, which is a big capacity. It's under various stages, out of which most of these are closed loop because it's cheaper and faster. So this takes about it's half the cost of a river based pump storage and about half the time it takes so the gestation period is much lesser. So just some thought, about the background of the state Telangana and the southern region. So what we are going to do is, basically these are on regulations which are based on sustainable energy, rules, regulations. So we have many of these which are made through rules by the Ministry of Power, the technical standards regulations by the Central Electricity Authority, and the regulations by the Central Electricity Regulatory Commission. So you'll have all these stakeholders, the authors who made of these regulations, coming here to give presentations to you and clear any doubts that you have. So any questions that you have, you can make up either through formal questions or informal. So don't be ashamed to ask questions. It actually clarifies a lot of things. So what we are going to do is, as I said, it's a feedback we are taking from you. After these regional workshops are concerned, this is the 5th one in southern region, the last region. After that, we will be giving a feedback on every state probably has a different requirement of wanting to know more about the regulations. Then we can have a statewide stakeholder consultation where many more people of the state can take part. So that may be in the second stage, which will start from after June or July. Let's see how it goes. But in your respective states, we'll have around 3 roundtables of the. Basically, it was meant for secretaries, the regulators, and the renewable development agencies. But as we've seen in other regions, most of the other states, senior people find it difficult to leave their headquarters and come to another state. It takes time, and their role is important there. So what we'll do is that we will, since there are 2 states, what we'll do is that we will, in the roundtables, in fact, not have 3 roundtables, but we'll have 2 roundtables where we will combine the utilities of different states and the GenCo, the TransCo, and DISCOMs, one representative from everyone here in Telangana. And the next one we'll have is of regulators. So they're basically regulators. There are 2 from Kerala and Telangana, from 2 states. So we'll have that in the next roundtable. And is there anybody from any other state other than Telangana or Kerala? From what I saw in the registration, there isn't. But I mean, I'm just in case I missed it. Okay, right. So so this is how we are going to go. You have 3 roundtables, which will convert to 2 roundtables. Then you have basic principles of grid balancing, grid stability due to intermittent generation and ancillary services regulations. Those of you in SLDC definitely would know about these, but some of you are not from SLDC, some are from the generating company, some are from the transmission, some from distribution company, but maybe you also know that. But it's grid, when you have intermittent generation, and if the load and generation is not balanced at each point of time, you have frequency fluctuations, system frequency, which is supposed to be 50 hertz in India. So you have that. And to balance this intermittency, or balance to see that the frequency remains the same, balance the intermittency of generation, you have 3 methods. One is you have standby generation, as I said. Others you have storage, again as I said. And third is demand response. Now demand response is a new thing, which is, instead of increasing standby generation, you give an incentive to consumers to reduce their demand. Because either you increase generation or reduce demand, the effect is the same. So that's a thing which is prevalent in many countries abroad, in Europe and US. In India it isn't, but I think we should take the lead in this, especially when we have smart meters being installed in many states, because then it will measure how much you consume during different time periods. If at a time when the generation is high, which means there's surplus situation, people, then that's fine, people can consume more. But if it's a deficit situation where your demand is more than generation, then you give an incentive to those people, any consumer, to reduce demand and get paid for that, get an incentive for that. So that's something which is still to take off, and I hope it takes off. Actually, the start has to be made from the state regulator, because all the consumers are mainly in the states. So if the regulatory commission gives a framework where they have this framework for demand response, then it will work. So the regulations for interstate are already in place, which is ancillary services regulations, which are taken out by CRC, but the state has to act like an aggregator for that state's consumers. So I hope that we do get, I think the people from the Regulatory Commission in Karnataka and Kerala, so I would request you all to initiate this framework, and hopefully we will also talk to the State Regulatory Commission's heads to do this. So that's about grid, and of course grid stability. There are 2 things in grid stability. One is that frequency, as I said. There's also voltage levels. Now the frequency would be the same in an synchronously connected grid. So it's the same in the whole grid. But if there's an HVDC connection in between, it's not central, then the frequency would be different on two sides of the HVDC connection. But there's voltage, which can be different from substation to substation. So voltage is a local phenomenon, whereas frequency is a global phenomenon in synchronous operation. So that has to be controlled also. And third is angular stability. Before that, line loading. Yeah, so line loading also, we have to see, the system operator has to see that none of the lines get overloaded. And the next is angular stability. So even if the lines are not overloaded, if the angle difference between two adjacent substations, I mean that's a technical thing for people who do system studies know about it. If the angle difference between two adjacent nodes exceeds 30 or 40 degrees, then if there's a tripping, there's likely to be an angular stability problem. So I'm not getting into details because each of these is a topic by itself, but just some basic information to you. And then resource adequacy, which is a new thing, that you plan your resources, which is generation and transmission. Adequate should be there. It should not be excess generation capacity which is contracted or less. Because if it is excess, then there's the average cost of supply to consumer will go up. If there's less, you will have load shedding being done. So just to be appropriate. So you'll have the person who's done this, which is the Chief Engineer Integrated Resource Planning in CA, who will be talking about it remotely because she also couldn't come. Ami Topo, she'll be talking today on that. Tackling intermittency and long duration storage. As I said, long duration storage, which I already spoke to you about, and which is, as I said, through pump storage plants, and more efficiently through closed loop pump storage. And the last one is about flexibilizing thermal power plants. So I know that Karnataka is largely hydro. Tamil Nadu has got both, is more of thermal, and Andhra is, I think, got a mix of the two, thermal and hydro, but more of hydro probably in Andhra. So, but that's where the thermal stations, coal-based stations, are normally supposed to be base load plants. Earlier, they would be generating constant throughout the day. But here, if you had at one time excess generations, so to make use of excess generation, you back down that thermal generation, and when required, suppose wind generation goes up, you back down, and if generation increases, again you ramp up. So, but the frequent fluctuations of coal-based stations causes adverse problems to these thermal plants. So one is it becomes more inefficient. The specific heat rate, which is the generating people will know, which is a measure of the efficiency of thermal power plant. The average consumption of coal per cost of electricity. Just give me a second. Flexibilizing thermal plants. So you can do that, but that it requires some modifications. Maybe there's a bypass valve which needs to be done for releasing steam, and some monitoring, better monitoring, because otherwise thermal plants, if you go up and down, there will be a temperature difference between temperature gradient, if it's a thick metal between the two, and it can lead to cracks. So that's something which again somebody will talk to you about from CA. In day 2, you will have the new grid code, which was taken out 2023, which has additional provisions, then which I'll mention to you in some of the slides which will come later. Grid operation, in general about grid operation, which is on the TTC, ATC, which is total transfer capability, available transfer capability, and reliability margin, which will be again talked about. Connectivity regulations and general network access. Now, general network access is a new thing, which was only open access earlier, but general network access has been brought in specifically to see that the state's requisition for enough transmission capacity. Then the OTC, functioning of power exchange. Power exchange is a very useful tool for many of you will realize that you can sometimes source cheaper power from the power exchange than your own cost of generation. And the last one is and the other one is OTC, the new platform, over the counter, which is a flexible thing, because power exchange has got standard products, which is every 15 minutes you can bid. So there's a day-ahead market, there's a weekly market, there's a intraday market, which are all standard products in the power exchange. Whereas in OTC regulations, you can have flexible. If you want power for 3 hours a day, next day you want 2 hours, the third day you want 1 hour, or you want only on certain days, that's flexible. So you give your requirement for buying, and there are sellers also who will say that I've got power available for this time to this time, this time. So it tries to match the two. It's a flexible platform. And OTC means actually over the counter, which is actually what a power trader does. Now power trader does that by speaking on phone, trying to get the sellers and the buyers together. Whereas this is a platform in which if you have maximum, is that demand response? No. Okay. Okay. I thought the light was going off because the demand had increased. No. Okay. This gives both it tries to match the requirements of both the buyers and sellers, so as to make sure that any excess power is transferred or gets matched with any deficit power at any time. And the last one is CA measures for safety and electricity supply. Now this is a lot of distribution companies would know about that, about safety aspects, because there are accidents which happen, which are fatal accidents as well as non-fatal accidents, which we want to minimize. So there are regulations for that. So now what I'll do is I'll just briefly go into some of the things a little bit. What is this? What has come over here on the screen? Okay, right. So as I said, grid balancing, grid stability, I've mentioned to you all these things, demand, response, everything. So I won't repeat what I said. Resource adequacy, again, I've mentioned. Basically, it means tying up sufficient capacity to reliably serve expected demand of the consumers in the DISCOM's license area in a cost-effective manner. So cost-effective manner is also a third parameter. It lays down the optimal capacity mix. So you can have renewable sources also there in the capacity mix, but either you incentivize the demand to also be at the time, at the time when there is more generation. For example, in solar, Telangana was the lead state. We had a meeting in 2018 in Chennai, where the southern region stakeholders were, which when I was in CA. So we had said at that time that agriculture supply, which used to be mostly given in the night hours, because at that time we had mostly thermal, night and more of renewables coming up. Night hours was where after peak, which means maybe after 9, 10, 11, 12 o'clock. So it was given late in the night. So there were complaints of snake bites, given that agriculture, water supply will give only after that time, which was, so we had incidents of that which we didn't want to have. And when there was a opportunity, when you have more of solar during the daytime, which is not being fully used, or if it's used, then you have to back down thermal generation. So we suggested that why don't you give agriculture supply during the solar hours. So Telangana was the lead state which started this thing, and now many other states are following to give more supply during solar hours, because there's excess generation there. So it's a mix of different types of generation. You meet your time of day, also demand varies, and so also over seasons. So you have adequate resources to make sure that all this demand is met at each point of time and each season at the cheapest manner. Tackling intermittency, as I said, closed loop pump storage and flexibilizing thermal plants. Grid code, these are it has New grid code also includes now resource planning, which was not there earlier. A protection code, because protection is important. Southern region, of course, didn't experience that. In 2012, the whole of northern region grid tripped on, I think, 30th July, and again on 31st July 2012, because of angular stability, because power was flowing from western to northern region, and one line tripped, crucial line, so the power got diverted through eastern region to northern region, and because it was a long route, there was a problem of angular stability and the whole grid tripped. So in the first case, northern region tripped. I'm not sure about western region if it also tripped. Maybe that, and in the second stage, even the northeastern region tripped. Eastern region also tripped. Yeah. So these are. That's why it's important to have a protection code, commissioning and commercial operation code. How long should a thermal plant take for achieving commercial operation? Normally, it's about. What is allowed is 6 months, and in case there is a problem of that it cannot be done in 6 months, they have to take permission, because there was a case in which a private generator. Now these regulations are valid for not only state generators, central generators, but also private generators. So private generator was taking advantage of this, and when there was a shortage, they were supposed to commission it within 3 or 6 months, but they did not, because they were selling the power exchange prices were very high. So they were selling in the power exchange instead of commissioning and selling it to the state which had PPA signed with them. So they were getting double the price in the power exchange. So they were taking advantage of that situation. That's why this code has come. And cyber security. I'm sure all of you are available, know about cyber security problems which happen, and many times you've been duped, not only in the electricity sectors, where the whole Ukraine whole grid sank twice or thrice because of cyber attacks. Whereas in your own case also some government sites get hacked, right? Then day 2 is, this is day 2, grid 2. Second is grid operation. Again, the same thing, transmission congestion. And as I said, total transfer capacity, available transfer capability, and reliability margin. Connectivity regulations. Somebody will talk about general network access. Then this functioning of power exchange. As I mentioned, there are a number of provisions in the power market regulations which maybe all of you don't know about, but they'll talk about this. OTC regulations, as I said, it's a flexible trading platform of CERC, and they're customized contracts. And data analytics is another thing, because the government, the CERC has said that data analytics should be provided to the users. So they'll analyze the data and tell us or give a state, this has been the trend earlier of which people are procuring power during this time. It's an analysis of that. So you can plan your procurement accordingly. Your state can do that. And of course, I don't know how many, there's a central power purchase committee in Telangana, is there? Who purchases for the entire state, or each of the DISCOMs procure on their own? Anybody? Combined procurement for the whole state. Yeah. So central power purchase committee, something like that is called, is it? Huh? Okay, fine, yeah. So that they can plan better, once for this data analytics they can use and plan better. And of course, measures related to the safety and electricity supply. It includes electrical installation for plant, generating plant, electric line, and so generation, transmission, and distribution, and trading for all that. Yes, thank you, and hope you all have an enriching session following.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. So now we are going to have round table. So we had planned 3 round tables, one for the secretaries, and the second one for the regulators, and the third one was for the Renewable Energy Development Agency. As sir said, we have clubbed it and we will have only 2. So I would like to request Pankaj Baturi to please take over the.
Yeah, so I would
Thank you.
like from different branches now and different states. So in Telangana, maybe somebody from the Central Power Purchase, Telangana Power Purchase Committee, somebody from the Transmission Wing, somebody from the Distribution Wing, please come here. And I would especially like if there is gender equity and you have at least one lady coming here. And distribution also, sorry. I also get an idea of that. Okay? Right? So I'll start with you, madam. So tell us about, you're from the Power Purchase Committee.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And so tell me about any issues that you have in your thing. I mean, when you, and also which side you want to do.
DE Commercial in TGPCC, Telangana Power Coordination Committee. We are doing trading transactions, and sometimes we are not getting power. Though it is available, we are not getting the power because of a transmission corridor problem. So I think the transmission capacity has to be built.
You are doing in power exchange?
Yeah.
Power exchange as well as long-term contracts?
No, only power exchange.
Only power exchange.
Yes.
So you have one more platform now, which is OTC.
Yes.
You have one more mic. Okay, so you are taking part in power exchange as well as short-term contracts. So are you using Deep platform, Deep for short-term contracts?
But presently we are not using this.
Okay. So you'll have one
Yes.
more platform now, which is OTC, which people will talk about
Yes.
over the counter. You are using traders, power traders? Do you do trading through power traders?
No, exchange only.
Exchange. So you're not used to buying power through traders?
Not traders.
Okay, okay.
Directly from exchanges.
Okay, you are smart enough to do that, yes.
Yes.
Okay, right. Okay, thank you. So you're saying that sometimes you don't get transmission corridor.
The corridor problem only.
Right. Okay, okay. Please go
So thank you, sir. My name is Vijay Kumar. I am looking after renewable power purchases in Power Coordination Committee. I am working as a division engineer. So how far this particular platform will listen to my views and how helpful it will be, I am fully not aware. But only hope I have is we have with us the ex-CA chairman. So that with that hope I am putting forth my views. As far as this capacity building is concerned, what I observed after coming over here is the focus is most on the technical issues like grid code, grid operation, and how to accommodate renewables and all these things. But as a person who is looking after the agreements part and the legal disputes part, what I feel strongly is, see, most of the money, quote unquote, money is involved in the agreements, the way you execute the agreements, the way you deal with legal disputes. So that is where the capacity building aspect is missing. That's what I feel. Because we need more people or people with much capacity or with some experience. There we need people. There we need capacity building. Because ultimately, because what is happening, what we observed is, see the other side, particularly in renewables, most of the parties are private parties. They are engaging advocates with highly paid fees, and they are in a position to winning the cases and fight legal battles. But there, on government side, most of the licenses are government licenses. Here we are lacking that thing. So that's where also this capacity building is required. Please focus on that. And second aspect, I found some session on laws and all this. This I do not know whether it is how far, how best this will fit into the context, I do not know. But I just want to pose one doubt I have to this forum. So recently, in the year 2023 October, Ministry of Power has come up with some renewable power purchase obligation, but that amending the Energy Conservation Act. Actually, this renewable power purchase obligation, whatever is imposed on the distribution companies, is supposed to come under Electricity Act. And there was some attempt from the central government amending the Electricity Act provisions previously, but that didn't move forward. And later on, surprisingly, they came under Energy Conservation Act and have given a big mandate to all the states. But how far it is correct? That's I just want to have any informal or formal views on this. I request the ex-chairman CE also please throw some light. I mean, personally I feel that is not the way, because the power of giving the RPPO obligation mandate lies with only commission, the state commissions under Electricity Act. I do not know how come they have come under Energy Conservation Act. That is one thing. And last thing, what I feel is, see, get this being a research organization, ERODI, I also request please give some feedback to Ministry of Power, those wings also, because what is happening is, for example, they are coming up with so many policies to encourage renewable power. Like for example, now till June 25 we have this ISTS waiver scheme is going on. But now most of the renewable power purchase agreements, whatever we signed, because of connectivity issues, we are unable to get them in time. But in the meantime, this 25 June will cross. How to address all those issues? Otherwise, states will end up paying so many crores. Okay, with these views, I thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your feedback. So one is that, we are doing it as a you said ex-chairperson CA from IRADE, but we are also doing it in collaboration with CA. So CA is also involved in this. Current chairperson is also involved. So we are supporting CA in carrying out this. So the
actually, I have assumed charge very recent, sir, 15 days back, so that I cannot suggest or ask anything regarding regulations. I have worked in this with some 7, 8 years back with little experience. Basically, I am operation engineer for the last 5 or 6 years. I have been in the operation side. I know operation problems. I don't know whether it's relevant to this forum or not to express those difficulties faced by operation engineers.
Generation or transmission?
Operation distribution company, sir. I am from Northern Power Distribution Company. I worked in operations for the last 6, 7 years. I don't know whether it is relevant or not, but the problems faced by operation engineers.
Their HVDS has been a big success. So they've brought down losses from 22% within 1 year to 16%. So 6% decrease in this thing. And they had not pointed out these problems, but there must be issues.
Concentration of pump sets is also important, sir, because our pump sets, our pump sets,
small discom promoted by Government of India and Government of Kerala. Like Dover Park, there are another 7 small discoms in Kerala. They are basically doing business for industrial promotions in Kerala, but doing simultaneously the distribution in their license area also. I have nearly 34 years of experience in power sector. Earlier I was in Kerala State Electricity Board, nearly 29 years services in KSCB, mainly in transmission and generation area, including in load dispatch. I also associated with trading in Kerala for KSCBL. So regarding the capacity building training, my suggestion is some grid code training is very essential, because our grid is most important. Maintaining the discipline by all the consumers or the...
My experience was almost 30 years dealing with generation. I worked for 6 years in thermal power plant. Later I shifted to DISCOM, sir. My experience, earlier experience totally with you dealing with end consumers, and recently I joined 3.5 from October. I am dealing with this commercial part of our DISCOM at corporate office level. From last 3.5 months, I felt that whatever I am feeling with the language which is understood, each and every regulation or tariff, everything, even Electricity Act also, written in English.
And so from these two things, and I think it's more about implementation of laws and things like that, not exactly what we need to pose here. But I think whatever you talked about, load responsiveness is a very good idea, because we abroad in US and all, we have those energy plans which the consumers can choose. So that's a very good thing we can implement. And I think when I worked as the AD maintenance also, regarding the safety, I think it's left to each one, whoever is executing the work, what safety measures we take, that's what we are implementing on our own. There's nothing like a schedule you have to follow, like the list of things you have, these are the works you have to do, and a checklist kind of a thing. That's not there in transport. And while I went to a private organization, they had those things. They had a breakup before we executed a work. What are the list of works that's part of the work? It's a breakup, and then how they it was a checklist. It was approved. That series of steps was approved, and there was a checklist. Have you taken your helmets or worn those helmets, and have you taken the shoes and all that? Nothing was left. Everybody knows that these are the things that they are being given. We are drawing them, but we are not exactly using them. So that kind of thing, this is again an internal thing, but is there, because all the other organizations are there, can we do something in that? And the safety officer, last time I had attended a conference, in the Electricity Act, there's something like you need to appoint a safety officer. So like organizations might think that it's kind of redundant, not really necessary to have a separate setup for safety. And suppose you nominate, there's one division, and currently what they've done, the division, the DE operation of the adjacent division is a safety officer for this. But it doesn't work, because they will not have the time to go and really inspect everything, all the installations, and it doesn't work. Not that the regulations are not there, but the thing is, but the efficacy of that will only be realized when we are actually implementing it in the true spirit. So that might be lacking. That again is a more internal thing. But can there be something to? Can you give who needs to be, and who needs to be nominated as a safety officer, and do we need a separate setup for that, or anybody can be nominated for that, or things like that? And as now for the past 2 years I'm working as the DERAC. We are, as we planned, suppose when I was in Edumailam, 3 of our lines were very, very overloaded. So only we...
I am currently heading ANERT for the past 3.5 years as its CEO. So anyhow, my colleague here on the dais will cover more other points, but so already it has been, many points have been touch based upon by the small DISCOM. But generally, as such as a
Electricity Regulatory Commission, as working as a compliance examiner. Earlier in the morning section, Honorable Chairman of Telangana Regulatory Commission mentioned that the lack of participation in public in formulating regulation. For meeting these issues, we have formed a consumer advocacy.
Hello everybody. See, I served the Telangana Regulatory Commission during 2014 to 19. Our approach was to develop regulations which are consumer friendly and easily understandable. I think somebody was raising that issue, language problem. So I don't think any confusion is there in the because simple languages we used to have. Okay, and to make it more clear and more clarity, we developed, for example, CJRF rules and ombudsman recruitment rules we amended to make it more, you can say, clear and more consumer friendly. Ours was the first state which made the regulations for CJRF appointments. So we only suggested that the chairperson of the CJRF should be a retired judge. That we started that. And then we also simplified the rules for the ombudsman appointment also. But so of course, somehow afterwards, earlier the procedure was CJRF chairman used to be a retired, in a working chief engineer. We said, no, we don't want that. Working chief engineer may not be doing justice to the consumer issues because he will try to favor his own DE or SE. That will be there. That's why we said. But ultimately, the people, the chief engineers represented that we will be losing to, all the 4 posts you give us. Even then we said, no, we don't want to give to the working chief engineer. We can give only to the retired chief engineer. So like that we made the rules to make it more consumer friendly, and the regulations also made very simple language, because to make it more clear, we are not retired judges, so to use the more legal language, so made it simple. So, but still that regulations are there. So the CJRF chairman should be the retired district judge or retired chief engineer.
My heartfelt gratitude to Central Electricity Authority, Grid India and IRADE team for providing me the opportunity to present you some issues which, as system operators at the national level and the regional level, we face, and the tools and the mechanisms available to mitigate those issues, so that you will be able to better manage your systems and also the integrated system of the entire nation. Excuse me, this will, it will go? No? You will? Okay. So this is the way how our portfolio management is done in India. So we have all types of contracts, like long-term contract, medium-term contract, short-term contract. There are so many types of contracts.
And we will discuss on storage of energy here also in hydro sector. How many people are there from hydro sector? From which organization? Okay. And PSP, you are also looking after PSP? Okay. So this will be my scheme of presentation of PSP. I will cover present power scenario. I think it is already covered, sir, in earlier sessions. What will be the scenario by 32, then storage requirement, what? Okay. Advantage of PSP over battery, then need of PSP, types of PSP, and so on. I think you are aware that we have about 457 gigawatt installed capacity of the electricity, and as discussed earlier, that 250 gigawatt of peak demand was met in May this previous year. This is present scenario. We have RE about 41% as of now, and thermal of 57%. That is the scenario today. And as per National Electricity Plan,
by March 32, we are planning installed capacity of 900 gigawatt. And scenario of thermal and renewable will change drastically. And you can see that here RE is 64% and thermal is 34% by March 32. So that is due to the change of RE scenario, more capacity commissioning of solar and renewable. We had also planned for 47 scenario that I am not going to discuss here. What is the requirement of storage? Earlier we had discussed that why storage is required. Either it is battery or PSP or hydrogen storage. So if we consider the 900 gigawatt by 47, we require about 74 gigawatt of storage. That is need for compensation or storage of solar and wind. So that 74 gigawatt we can meet through either battery storage or through PSP. As per study, they have considered 27 gigawatt of pumped storage and 74 gigawatt of 47 gigawatt of battery storage, total 74 gigawatt by March 32. That storage requirement will be there in the country. If we can increase installation of PSP of more capacity, then this requirement will reduce and we may meet this requirement of 74 gigawatt of storage. So PSP is the need of the day, and I think most of you may be aware that what advantages are there for PSP over the battery. Either we may install battery of higher capacity or we may go for PSP. PSP is as good as hydro. Only it has two reservoirs and hydro has single reservoir. Only that difference is there. So we know that hydro has longevity. It can work more than 100 years with the R&M of electromechanical equipments. We have so many projects which have lived life more than 100 years. But in case of battery, we have to replace by 10 or 12 years. Then resource availability. In case of PSP, we don't require any resource from outside. We have everything in our country. But in case of battery, we have to import the lithium ion and even the battery. We cannot manufacture that battery in the country. So that may lead the price risk if we are importing huge number of battery, and in future they may form the cartel and the price may increase drastically. So that is a huge risk. Storage capacity for PSP is 6 to 12 hours, but in case of battery it is about 3 hours only. Cost wise, PSP is ranging in the range of 7 to 8 rupees, but battery is about of 10 rupees, though it is reducing now. But in case of longevity, we can see that the cost of energy generated from PSP can reduce drastically. We are getting Bhakra power in about 65 paisa only. So only input power will cost, generation power will reduce with after living 35 years and 40 years. Then environment hazard is there in case of battery. We have to dispose of big size of batteries in 10-12 years. But in case of PSP, no such hazard is there. So we have to see about this. As earlier we had discussed that why storage is required. We know that grid stability is very important aspect, and for grid stability, PSP is one of the important factor, because we have huge power from solar and wind. So we have to store that power, because that is variable power, that is not fixed. we have energy transition plan that by 2030, 50% installed capacity should be from non-fossil fuel. And by 2070, we have to achieve net zero. So for that purpose, renewable energy, solar and wind is important. And to store that energy, for that purpose we require storage. So that may be through PSP or battery. Then during off-peak time, we have to offtake this power of solar, and during peak hours, we have to again dispatch the power of these stored site to the load sites. For that purpose, PSP is very important. Other aspect like ancillary services, we had already discussed with the earlier speaker, that ramping support, faster startup, shutdown, spinning reserve, black start, those aspects are already there with PSP because it is as good as hydro. In recent years, new concept has come for PSP. Earlier, we were working on river PSP like Tehri, Purlia or Kunda, but now new concept is of off-stream PSP. That PSP reservoirs are not on any perennial nala or stream. Either one reservoir is on off stream or both of are on off stream. So this is a new concept, and Pinnapuram in Andhra Pradesh is first of this kind PSP, which is going to commission shortly. This type of PSP have so many provisions that whatever rainfall is there, rain yield is there, they have to release. Considering that how much water is going downstream as of now, that much amount they have to release regularly so that flora and fauna can survive at the downstream. And one-time filling may be taken from any other source other than that stream. So this is a new concept. In this concept, there are two types of PSP. One is closed loop PSP. Both the reservoirs are new and off stream. So this is closed loop type of PSP. And this is open loop PSP, means one reservoir is off stream, another is on conventional reservoir. So that is open loop PSP. Why off stream PSPs are important? Because it has inherent so many benefits. We can identify at any location, no water resources at that place required, because we have to fill up from any other reservoir. Ecology is impacted in minimal way. We can avoid the forest area. We may identify the site where minimum forest area is covered. Australian University has identified about 5,000 sites for off-stream PSP. So developers are working on those sites. They are identifying and then they optimize the site, and based on that requirement, what capacity they require at that site, they are planning, they are identifying those PSPs, and then they approach to the state government for allotment. Less land use conflicts may